Boom, hey internets. I had to make a video about this. I thought about this in reflection to a couple things. Also, anytime it comes close to trade show season, a lot of people start popping up in my feed. When I say my feed, I mean they're DMing me or they're texting me at this number, which you guys can text me at as well. I always leave that number at the end of my video, and it's a dedicated business line. In any case, the trade shows do a great job marketing the availability and also the scarcity of the trade show and having you show. I think a lot of brands don't know what the next logical step is for them. That's partially one of the reasons that I even have the YouTube channel. And so I want to make this video for a lot of brands who have showed and are super discouraged, because I know that's what happens next. I know because they talk to me after the show if they didn't talk to me before the show. And so, you know, I have a couple solutions in and around trade show, and I've talked about trade show for a long time. And for those of you who don't know, I attended trade show for less than in and around like 2 decades, like from my 20s and 30s on. You know, I started working professionally in apparel in 2000. I started at a skate company. So I'm talking, I mean, way back ASR days. So Action Sports Retailer Show was a trade show that showed up in San Diego and downtown Long Beach, and then was completely eaten up by Agenda. So Agenda Trade Show, which is still going strong as I'm making this video, they dominate for streetwear, right? And then Magic Show, which still encompasses Project, Liberty Fair. They bought Pool Show, which they own as a trade show. All of those happen on a seasonal basis. And so is it still a great place to go to connect with industry and retailers? More importantly, yes. There's so many good resources that happen at the trade show. And around that time, everyone asks if I'm going to be there. Typically, I won't be there. I've done so many trade shows. You'll hear me say this, but I'll only show up to the trade show if I'm paid to be there. So if I'm there with a brand or something else probably related to fashion and or this channel is why I would be there. But yeah, I don't need to see another trade show. For you guys who have had the experience and it didn't go so well, here's what I would say. And let me also preface with this. In 2008, I forget now, 2007 or 8, whatever, I showed with my own brand at 2 trade shows. It was not successful for me. So let me tell you that first and foremost. People forget about this because I've told my story about my brand failing very openly on this channel. It's one of the bases. So I had been working in the industry for years, like I said, since 2000. And so when it didn't work, it really made me look at the things that I was not good at, right? Like my weaknesses were sales and marketing at the time, namely, you know, obviously to me, I didn't know enough details. I mean, now I make videos about it because I've studied them intently after I took a huge L via that. So first thing I want to say is I feel your pain if you're coming from the trade show and it wasn't what you expected. The other thing I would say is prior to that, you guys hear me say on this channel, when should you go to the trade show? You should go to the trade show when it's dictated by your response with retail. So you should have wholesale accounts already before you even think about showing up to the trade show. So if you showed up to the trade show thinking, you know, it's gonna be a Disney movie where Tilly's comes and sees your brand and they're like, oh, this is the best thing out here, let's open you up and let's do like 10 test accounts this upcoming season, and that didn't happen. No, that's gonna happen to like nobody. So what I did after my trade show experience is really take a hard look, and as you can guess, I found out 2 categories where I can improve. And what you can do is then start taking apart those categories and start being very intentional about how you can improve in those categories. Now, if you literally had no one come by, didn't talk to one buyer, which can be a very common occurrence, right? Every trade show that I was there, I would watch and I knew, I could see the look on people's faces, especially if they were an absolutely new brand. If I came and talked to them and they didn't know what certain terms were, certain industry terms, or they just in the conversation just came out and said, this is my first trade show, or, you know, I'm new at this. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, they dropped like 5K to be there and they never really attended a trade show prior to that. So again, it's common. All the trade shows that I attended in the like 20 years or whatever, I've seen that look on brands and I already know without having to have a discussion with them that they're having a tough show and it's not going to be very fruitful. So anyways, aftermath, and for this video, what I'm saying is take those 2 things apart. So sales and marketing for me, also educating yourself on the terms. I mean the actual terms, and then I also do mean terms of sales. So that has to do under the category of sales, but knowing what is available for other companies. Like what if a big retailer will only accept 30 days net or maybe 60 days net? It's something to be educated about. Also being educated about what that process looks like if they do accept you as a brand that they want to test with for their retail. Also, there's a ton of retailers who you probably didn't meet at the show and you'd probably have a better time meeting them if you weren't stuck to your booth or had the energy to go out at night at the events where all the buyers will party at and go there and find a way to uniquely connect with them. Not just saying I have a clothing brand, because then they might be like, wow, I'm gonna get hit up by every single, you know, brand owner here. But finding a unique way to connect with them where you could bring them value, right? This is, I mean, I'm getting to next level trickiness here, but I'm also being very blunt because I have friends that are buyers, right? And I brought some of them onto the channel. And so if you own a shop, especially if you only own 5 or 6, there's probably 80% of your buyers probably already spoken for, and you're gonna go with heavy hitters that have brought a return back to you, and maybe 20%, maybe 25% is new buys and like trying new brands that you see a lot of noise around, a lot of hype around those brands. And these buyers might ask other buyers like, hey, what's working for you in your shop? And so part of it is trying to see how you can be one of those brands in that conversation, right? And a lot of that is obviously ongoing success. So when the dominoes hit, it's gonna continue a chain reaction. And so the general study is just making yourself the it brand. And so how do you do that? And so doing all of that homework in the aftermath of the things you could have been more prepared for in the trade show. So all of the aforementioned and almost every single category that I talk about of improving like your brand that I talk about on this channel. So I hope that helps. In one way, take an L. If you did not perform as well at the trade show, I would have you transform that occurrence, that event, into a learning experience and saying, how can I move forward and learn from this as much as possible and see how this can go on to make you a stronger company moving forward. If you wanted to take a look, I know it's in the aftermath of my course, Tips and Tricks on Trade Show. I have a course for that. I have a bunch of other solutions on CBA, so please check that out for whatever stage you're at with your brand, but way before you're gonna show at a trade show, I have a ton of solutions for you guys. If you had any questions on this or any specifics on that or anything for your brand, you can drop it out down below, or you can hit me on this number here. It gets my iPhone every single time, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.